staggering 35% of adults with dyslexia report they were physically abused before they turned 18, when only 7% of those without dyslexia gave the same report. And I reference this in the final slide. Approximately 2/3 of children with special educational needs reported being bullied, compared with only a quarter of mainstream students. And finally, 83% of one SBLD sample experienced some form of bullying. A mixture of types was experienced by 68%, mainly verbal by 24%, mainly physical by 5%, and mainly teasing by 3%. And we know that this has a really negative effect on the kids. I mean, obviously it does. I don't need to tell you this. But there's an 80 to 90% chance that being bullied turns children violent or inwards, with the tendency to blame themselves. And they get physical symptoms of coughs, headaches, stomach aches, outward manifestations like bedwetting, loss of appetite, withdrawal, absenteeism. And we also know that they have mental health symptoms: depression, self-hatred, anxiety, suicidal ideation, etc. What happens is, if you are dysregulated, if you're emotionally dysregulated, if you're stressed, if you're bullied, if you find that the sensory world overwhelms you, your brain, it kind of shuts down, to be honest with you. What happens is certain parts of the brain stop communicating efficiently with each other. Parts of the brain that would have been involved with learning are now involved with searching for danger. Some parts of the brain that are involved in understanding and remembering are involved in essentially paranoia all of a sudden, and the brain doesn't connect with itself nearly as efficiently as it used to. So stress, and if I may say, this wasn't really trauma, but stress and trauma stop you from learning well. And we know that social pain registers, this is phenomenal, this social pain registers in the same place in the brain as physical pain. They feel it. If anybody's ever felt really stressed and really unhappy, you know what this means. You feel it in your stomach, in your chest, in your bones. You feel that pain. We also know, and this is fascinating, Kaufman, 1992, most students with dyslexia go through life in what he called a shroud of shame. And the shame experienced over illiteracy often matches in intensity the shame experienced over incest. That's what shame, the shame of illiteracy, the shame of poor writing can do to a child. So when we describe kids in terms of their poor writing, we are shaming them, and the pain that they feel can be intense. And in fact, this brings upon around depression. And we know from various different sources that those with good literacy skills are far less likely to be depressed than those with high literacy skills. I mean, look at this. Good literacy skills among women, 7% likely to be depressed. Bad literacy skills, 36% likely to be depressed. Similar with numeracy skills. We know that when people have got poor literacy, poor numeracy skills, they are likely to be depressed. And that leads to this: lifetime suicide attempts by percentage. Aggregate 2.7% with no specific learning differences. Aggregate 11.1% with specific learning differences. About 4 times as many, 5 times as many, something like that. So this is what it does. It leads to a lifetime of trauma and mental health problems. We need to rephrase the way that we think about dyslexic kids. We need to rephrase the way we think about autistic kids. We need to stop describing them as unable to, and we need to just look at their strengths and their differences, not their inabilities. I know we can sometimes look at their inabilities, but we look at every kid's inabilities. We look at this child's inability to read even though he's not dyslexic, but we label this child as unable if they're dyslexic. So we're doing something more, if you like, categorically different there.